There are moments in life when we feel unstoppable, full of energy, dreams, and ambition. We imagine ourselves achieving everything we've ever wanted: success, freedom, happiness, security. But then something happens. Days pass, weeks pass, years slip by. And one day we wake up realizing we're still in the same place, stuck in the same routines, carrying the same regrets. What happened? How did the fire fade? How did the vision blur? The truth is, it's not usually one catastrophic event that ruins people's futures. It's the small, subtle, destructive habits that sneak in silently and grow stronger over time. Habits that feel harmless in the moment but end up chaining you to mediocrity. If you don't stop them, they will consume you, and before you know it, your future is gone. The first silent killer is procrastination. You already know it's bad, but what most people don't realize is that procrastination is not just about being lazy or unmotivated. It's about fear of failure, fear of not being good enough, fear of discomfort. Every time you delay something important, you're not just postponing action. You're telling your mind that fear is in control. And here's the terrifying part. The more you give in, the stronger that fear becomes. Imagine training a wild animal every single day to grow bigger and stronger while you get weaker. That's what procrastination does. And while it feels harmless to start tomorrow, every delay is a brick in the wall that will eventually block your path to the life you want. Another habit that ruins more futures than people realize is comparison. We live in an age where it's easier than ever to measure yourself against others. You scroll through social media and you see someone younger than you making more money, someone with a better body, a better car, a happier family. Suddenly, your own progress feels meaningless. Comparison poisons your mind with the illusion that you're not enough. And when you start believing you're not enough, you either give up completely or spend your life chasing someone else's definition of success. Both are traps. The truth is, the only comparison that matters is who you were yesterday versus who you are today. Every moment you waste measuring yourself against someone else is a moment stolen from building your own future. Then there's the habit of seeking comfort over growth. On the surface, it doesn't sound dangerous. What's wrong with choosing the easier path? But comfort is like quicksand, soft at first, but impossible to escape once you sink too deep. Every time you choose the easy route, you reinforce weakness. You teach yourself to avoid pain, to avoid challenge, to avoid life. And here's the brutal reality. Everything you want, strength, wealth, respect, fulfillment, lies on the other side of discomfort. If you can't embrace challenge, you can't claim your future. Comfort feels good now, but it always costs you later. Another destructive behavior is surrounding yourself with the wrong people. You may not realize it, but your environment shapes you more than your willpower does. If you spend your time with people who complain, people who settle, people who make excuses, you will inevitably start to absorb their mindset. Energy is contagious, and negativity spreads faster than ambition. On the other hand, when you surround yourself with people who push harder, dream bigger, and demand more of themselves, you rise to meet their standard. Your future depends not only on your actions, but also on the company you keep. Stop spending time with anchors if you want to learn how to fly. And let's not ignore one of the most common silent destroyers: ignoring your health. Success, wealth, and achievement mean nothing if your body fails you. Yet so many people sacrifice their future by neglecting the basics: sleep, nutrition, exercise. They tell themselves they'll fix it later, but later never comes. Every bad habit you build today compounds, just like every good habit. Your health is the foundation for everything else. Without it, your future is already ruined. The energy to chase your dreams, the focus to build something meaningful, the resilience to overcome obstacles, all of it starts with how you treat your body. But here's the subtle danger that makes all of these habits so deadly. They don't ruin you instantly. They ruin you slowly. Day by day, choice by choice, until suddenly you realize years have gone by and you're nowhere close to where you wanted to be. That's why they're so dangerous. If these habits destroyed your life overnight, you'd recognize them and fight back. But because they eat away at you gradually, you don't see the damage until it's too late. That's why awareness is the first step. You need to see clearly the behaviors that are stealing your future before you can stop them. Imagine your life as a book you're writing. Every day you add a sentence, a paragraph, a page. The habits you choose are the ink. If you procrastinate, compare, seek comfort, surround yourself with the wrong people, or neglect your health, you're writing a story of wasted potential. And one day you'll reach the final chapter and realize the book is filled with regret. But if you stop these habits, if you take control now, you can rewrite the narrative. The pen is still in your hand. The future is still unwritten. And the difference between a tragedy and a masterpiece lies in the choices you make starting today. So let me ask you this. What are you doing right now that your future self will thank you for? And what are you doing right now that your future self will curse you for? Because make no mistake, there will come a day when you face yourself in the mirror and you'll have to answer to the life you built or the life you destroyed. Stop lying to yourself. Stop postponing. Stop settling. If you keep doing these things, you will ruin your future. But if you stop now, you still have time to build something extraordinary. The tragedy of wasted potential is that it rarely feels like a tragedy while it's happening. In the moment, choosing distraction over discipline feels harmless. Choosing comfort over growth feels reasonable. Choosing excuses over accountability feels justified. But years later, when you see the gap between who you are and who you could have been, that's when the weight of regret becomes unbearable. And the cruel truth is this: regret is far heavier than discipline ever will be. Discipline requires effort today, but regret punishes you forever. If you keep doing what feels easy now, you are guaranteeing yourself a life of heaviness, shame, and missed opportunities. One of the most overlooked mistakes people make is wasting time on meaningless distractions. Think about how many hours are stolen from your life every week by mindless scrolling, pointless arguments, or empty entertainment. Every minute you waste is a minute you can never recover. Time is the most valuable resource you have because it cannot be replaced. You can lose money and earn it back. You can lose opportunities and create new ones. But once a day is gone, it's gone forever. And here's the brutal reality. If you keep wasting time, you will wake up one day with nothing but wasted years. Stop giving your future away in exchange for temporary amusement. Another silent killer is the habit of making excuses. Excuses feel like protection, but they're actually poison. When you say, "I don't have enough time," what you really mean is, "It's not important enough to me." When you say, "I can't because of my circumstances," what you really mean is, "I'm not willing to fight through difficulty." Every excuse you make may feel justified in the moment, but each one is another brick in the prison you're building for yourself. And over time, those walls will close in until you can no longer see the possibility of a better life. If you want to protect your future, stop protecting your excuses. There's also the subtle but dangerous pattern of tolerating mediocrity. Many people don't realize this, but every time you allow yourself to deliver less than your best, you are training yourself to accept weakness. If you cut corners at work, if you let yourself slack on your goals, if you allow yourself to coast instead of push, you're telling your brain that average is acceptable. But here's the painful truth. Average is not safe. Average is dangerous. Average is the slow road to regret. The world does not reward mediocrity. It forgets it. If you want a future worth living, you cannot allow yourself to live like everyone else. And then there's fear of judgment. This one destroys more futures than failure ever could. People are so worried about what others might think that they never take the steps necessary to create their own lives. They hide their dreams because they're afraid of criticism. They silence their ambitions because they're afraid of standing out. But here's the harsh reality. The people whose opinions you're afraid of, they're too busy with their own lives to care about yours. And even if they do judge you, their judgment doesn't pay your bills, doesn't build your future, and doesn't live your regrets. Stop letting the fear of others control the direction of your life. If you do, you're already ruined. Another destructive pattern is living without clarity. Too many people drift through life without a clear vision of where they want to go. They wake up, go to work, come home, and repeat without ever asking themselves, "Is this the life I want?" If you do know where you're going, you will never arrive. Life doesn't accidentally give you fulfillment, you have to design it. Without clarity, you waste years chasing random distractions and end up with nothing to show for it. Stop drifting. Decide what you want. Define it clearly. Then commit to it relentlessly. Otherwise, your future will dissolve into a blur of wasted years. Let's talk about another subtle but fatal trap: ignoring financial responsibility. You might think money isn't everything, and you'd be right. But money is the foundation that allows you to build freedom, opportunity, and security. Too many people ruin their futures by living for the present, spending recklessly, or avoiding financial discipline. Debt, overspending, and lack of savings are chains that will keep you trapped in a cycle of stress and dependence. The future belongs to those who control their resources, not those controlled by them. Stop pretending that ignoring money is harmless. It's not. It's one of the fastest ways to ruin your future. Here's another one that doesn't get enough attention: the habit of quitting too soon. Every goal, every dream, every worthwhile pursuit will test you. It will get harder than you expected. It will take longer than you thought. It will demand more than you believed you had. Most people quit when the pain comes. They think, maybe it's not meant to be. But success has nothing to do with destiny and everything to do with persistence. The ones who achieve greatness aren't the ones who had it easy. They're the ones who refuse to give up. If you quit when it gets hard, you're guaranteeing that your future will stay small. And perhaps the most dangerous trap of all: waiting for the right time. People waste their entire lives waiting for conditions to be perfect before they take action. They wait until they have more money, more time, more confidence, more certainty. But here's the truth: there will never be a perfect time. Life will always be messy, uncertain, and challenging. Waiting is the fastest way to destroy your future, because waiting guarantees nothing ever happens. The right time is always now. Every day you delay is a day stolen from your future self. All of these habits — distraction, excuses, mediocrity, fear of judgment, lack of clarity, financial irresponsibility, quitting, and waiting — might seem small when you look at them individually. But together they form a prison. And every time you choose them, you're tightening the lock on your own cage. Stop doing these things or they will absolutely ruin your future. But if you recognize them now and cut them off, you can still escape. You can still reclaim your time, your focus, your discipline, and your life. Your future is not determined by luck, fate, or chance. It's determined by the habits you allow today. If you want a future worth living, you must stop these destructive behaviors before they cement themselves into who you are. The harsh truth is this: if you continue with these patterns, you won't even realize how much you've lost until it's too late. But if you make the choice to stop now, you can rewrite everything. Your future doesn't have to be ruined. It can still be rebuilt. There's a reason so many people end up trapped in cycles they never escape. It's not because they lack intelligence, talent, or opportunity. It's because they keep making choices that sabotage them, even when they know better. Knowledge alone is not enough. You can know what's destroying you and still keep doing it. Why? Because these destructive habits are seductive. They give you instant gratification, short-term relief, or temporary comfort, while silently robbing you of long-term fulfillment. If you want to avoid ruining your future, you have to understand why these patterns are so dangerous, and why breaking free requires not just awareness but courage. Let's take procrastination again. On the surface, it feels safe. You tell yourself you'll do it tomorrow because it eases the pressure in the moment. You convince yourself you're buying time, but what you're really buying is regret. Each time you delay, you reinforce weakness. Imagine someone digging a hole every day, just a little deeper. One day they look up and realize they can't climb out anymore. That's what procrastination does. It's not just about wasted time. It's about the identity you're building. If you keep postponing, you're not just delaying tasks, you're becoming the kind of person who can't be relied on. That identity will bleed into every area of your life and ruin your reputation, your opportunities, and your self-respect. Now think about comfort. Comfort feels safe too, but it's the most deceptive trap of all. Comfort is the slow death of ambition. It lulls you into believing you're okay when you're not. It whispers, "Relax, you deserve it," even when you haven't earned it. And while you sit there choosing the easy way, life is moving on without you. Other people are grinding, growing, building. And one day you'll look around and realize you've been left behind. Comfort is seductive because it doesn't feel destructive in the moment. But years of comfort stack up, and the result is a wasted life. Comparison works the same way. You think you're motivating yourself by measuring against others, but in reality, you're draining your power. Every time you compare, you shift your focus outward instead of inward. You hand over your self-worth to someone else's highlight reel. And the truth is, you never win at comparison. There will always be someone richer, smarter, fitter, younger. If your value is based on comparison, your future is ruined before it begins, because you will never find peace, only endless dissatisfaction. Another subtle destroyer is neglecting discipline. Discipline is the bridge between goals and reality. Without it, dreams stay dreams. But many people sabotage their futures because they mistake discipline for restriction. They think discipline is about taking away freedom, when in fact it's the opposite. Discipline creates freedom. The freedom to build wealth, the freedom to control your time, the freedom to live on your own terms. Without discipline, you'll always be at the mercy of impulses, distractions, and other people's demands. A future without discipline is not a future, it's a cage. Let's also talk about the trap of blaming others. It's one of the most convenient ways people ruin their futures. Blaming feels good because it shifts responsibility. It lets you avoid accountability. If it's always someone else's fault, your boss, your parents, your circumstances, your environment, then you never have to face your own weakness. But here's the brutal truth. As long as you blame others, you remain powerless. Power comes from ownership. Only when you accept full responsibility for your life do you gain the authority to change it. Stop blaming, or you'll keep living a life controlled by everyone but you. Then there's the destructive habit of seeking validation. Many people ruin their futures because they crave approval more than they crave growth. They post, they perform, they pretend, all for likes, attention, or applause. But validation is a drug, addictive, short-lived, and destructive. When you live for validation, you can't live for yourself. You'll compromise your values, your dreams, and your integrity just to please others. And in the end, you'll realize that the approval you worked so hard for doesn't fill the emptiness inside. If you don't break this habit, your future won't be yours. It will belong to everyone else. Another dangerous trap is ignoring self-awareness. Most people don't take the time to reflect on their patterns, their choices, their mistakes. They rush through life on autopilot, repeating the same destructive cycles without ever stopping to ask why. Self-awareness is the foundation of growth. Without it, you can't correct your path, you can't learn from failure, and you can't improve. If you never take time to face yourself, you'll keep running in circles, busy, distracted, and unfulfilled. The future belongs to those who are willing to pause, reflect, and adjust. And we can't ignore the habit of underestimating consistency. Too many people think success is about big moments, huge breakthroughs, or sudden opportunities. But the truth is, success is built in the small, invisible choices you make every single day. Brushing off consistency because it feels boring is one of the fastest ways to destroy your future. You might think skipping one workout, missing one deadline, or neglecting one promise doesn't matter, but those small lapses compound. And one day, you'll realize your entire life is the product of neglect, not effort. If you want a strong future, consistency is non-negotiable. Finally, let's address the mindset of entitlement. Entitlement is the belief that you deserve success without effort. It's the belief that the world owes you something. Nothing ruins a future faster than entitlement because it keeps you waiting for rewards you haven't earned. Life doesn't care about what you think you deserve. It cares about what you're willing to work for. If you're entitled, you won't work. If you don't work, you won't achieve. And if you don't achieve, you'll live your life bitter, resentful, and powerless. The world owes you nothing. And the sooner you accept that, the sooner you'll stop ruining your own future. The bottom line is this: most people don't destroy their futures in one dramatic collapse. They destroy them slowly, habit by habit, choice by choice, day by day. If you can see these patterns for what they are, seductive traps disguised as harmless choices, then you can break free. But if you don't, they will own you. And by the time you realize it, your future will already be gone. It's easy to believe that the little things you do each day don't matter much. After all, what's a few extra minutes of scrolling social media, or one skipped workout, or one more day procrastinating? It feels harmless in the moment. But here's the painful truth. The small habits you repeat daily eventually write the script of your entire life. And often, it's not the big mistakes that ruin people's futures. It's the tiny, invisible patterns they refuse to stop. If you want to safeguard your future, you must learn to identify these patterns and cut them out before they quietly destroy everything you're trying to build. One of the most dangerous patterns is the addiction to comfort. Comfort feels safe, and your brain craves it because it requires no effort. But what feels safe now often costs you later. Staying in your comfort zone feels like preservation, but in reality, it's slow erosion. You avoid difficult conversations, so your relationships weaken. You avoid risks, so your opportunities shrink. You avoid discipline, so your potential stays buried. Comfort is the silent killer of growth. Every day you choose comfort over courage, you trade a piece of your future for a moment of ease. And the scary part is, you won't notice the damage until years later, when you look back and realize you lived far beneath what you were capable of. Another pattern is living reactively instead of proactively. Most people wake up and let the world dictate their day. They check notifications, scroll the news, answer emails, and spend hours responding to other people's demands. By the time they look up, the day is gone and nothing meaningful has been accomplished. If you live like this long enough, you'll spend your life helping everyone else chase their dreams while yours fade into the background. The solution: take control of your time. Decide what matters most each day and protect it fiercely. If you don't set your own priorities, someone else will set them for you, and their agenda will never include your future. Another trap is surrounding yourself with the wrong people. You may not realize it, but your environment silently shapes who you become. If you spend time with complainers, you'll learn to complain. If you spend time with procrastinators, you'll start delaying too. If you spend time with dreamers who never execute, you'll get stuck in the same cycle. And before you know it, you'll mirror their limitations. On the other hand, if you surround yourself with people who push you, who challenge you, who demand better from you, you'll rise to meet their level. One of the fastest ways to ruin your future is to let the wrong voices fill your head. Choose your circle with intention, because their habits will become yours. Let's talk about distraction. In today's world, distraction is everywhere, and it's stealing more from your future than you realize. Every hour you waste scrolling, binge-watching, or numbing your mind is an hour stolen from your goals, your health, your relationships, and your dreams. Distraction feels harmless because everyone does it, but the cost is enormous. Imagine this. If you spend just 2 hours a day lost in meaningless distraction, that's 730 hours a year, over 30 full days gone. An entire month of your life each year, wasted. Now imagine what you could do with those 30 days if you poured them into learning a skill, building a business, or improving yourself. Distraction is not just entertainment, it's theft, and the thief is always hungry. Another silent future killer is self-doubt. Not the occasional nervous thought, we all have those, but the chronic voice that convinces you you're not enough, not ready, not worthy. Self-doubt is powerful because it doesn't just slow you down, it paralyzes you. It keeps you from starting, from trying, from risking. It whispers lies that sound like truth. Wait until you're more prepared. You're not like them. What if you fail? And if you listen long enough, you'll watch your future slip away. Not because you weren't capable, but because you never gave yourself the chance. The truth is, most of the people you admire felt the same fear and doubt. The only difference is they moved forward anyway. Courage isn't the absence of fear, it's action in spite of it. Another behavior that ruins futures is chasing quick gratification instead of long-term reward. Every time you trade the easy option now for the harder option that pays later, you're building either weakness or strength into your future. Eat junk food today, pay with poor health tomorrow. Spend recklessly today, pay with debt tomorrow. Skip effort today, pay with regret tomorrow. The discipline you resist today is the freedom you lose tomorrow. Success is built on delayed gratification, the willingness to endure temporary discomfort for permanent growth. If you can't master this, you'll sabotage yourself over and over, chasing pleasure while your future crumbles. There's also the trap of blaming instead of taking responsibility. People who ruin their futures almost always have a habit of pointing outward instead of inward. They blame the economy, their parents, their boss, their circumstances, their luck. And while those things can create challenges, blame keeps you powerless. Responsibility, on the other hand, gives you power. It says, maybe it's not my fault, but it is my responsibility to respond. That shift changes everything. The people who build great futures don't necessarily have easier circumstances. They simply refuse to waste time blaming. They use whatever they have, wherever they are, to move forward. Blame locks you in the past. Responsibility unlocks your future. Finally, one of the most common ways people ruin their future is by quitting too soon. Most people underestimate how long success takes. They plant seeds, but when the harvest doesn't come quickly, they abandon the field. They try a skill for a few months, but when progress feels slow, they give up. They start a business, but when challenges come, they fold. What they don't realize is that success often comes right after the hardest part, right after the moment you feel like giving up. Quitting feels like relief in the moment, but it's actually robbing your future self of the reward you were about to receive. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is rarely talent, it's persistence. The future belongs to those who endure. If you want to protect your future, you must stop these destructive patterns now. Stop choosing comfort over courage. Stop living reactively. Stop surrounding yourself with the wrong people. Stop wasting your life on distractions. Stop letting self-doubt run the show. Stop chasing quick gratification. Stop blaming. And above all, stop quitting too soon. Because your future is not some distant mystery. It's being written today in the choices you make right now. Every decision is a vote for the person you'll become. And if you choose wisely, nothing, not circumstance, not failure, not fear, can ruin the future you're building.